If you're ready to shift your energy and step into a more fulfilling life, you won't want to miss this conversation. In this series of Manifesting Your Dream Life, I'm thrilled to welcome our guest, Terry Christie, an internationally acclaimed energy healer and celebrity relationship coach with nearly 2 decades of experience. You may have seen her on Bravo's The Real Housewives of Potomac, OWN Network's Love and Marriage DC, or hear her insights on Hay House Radio and Good Morning Washington. Terry has helped countless individuals break through emotional barriers, cultivated self-love, and create deep, meaningful relationships both with themselves and others. She is also the author of The Secret Power of You, a guide to mastering your inner greatness, where she shares powerful insights on unlocking your full potential.
In a lot of relationships, over the time, people get bored. How can they cope up with that?
Yes. Let's start with having defined. So the wife gets bored. This is just a definition, that's all. The wife gets bored. She has to choose inside of her, what is it that she's bored of? Not that he's not doing, because again, that's judgment of what she's trying to create outside of herself. She has to go within. Where is it? Because when people quiet their mind, that's where meditation can give you a lot of answers. When people quiet the mind, they can go back and say, where was the defining line that went from I was happy and complete to now I'm bored? So it could have been, well, my partner spends a lot of time on the phone. Well, then what happened is you allowed that to continue to happen until now you feel disconnected from your partner. You allowed that.
You accepted in the beginning.
That's right, meaning you allowed it, you accepted it. If it's because this person has a career and they're spending too much time into their business or career, then in that moment when you, within days or weeks, it shouldn't have been years, because now you've accepted it, and now there's resentment, right? You created that. Because if you would have saw it within weeks, you would have said, my love, I see that you're getting distracted from our love. Is there anything that I can help you with? Or is there any way that we can shift things so that I have a significant amount of time when you're home? Right? And then her boredom wouldn't have creeped in because she allowed it. Now, again, the fear that she thought, well, I'm controlling him. No. You're simply stating with love, my love, our love, right? Bringing it back to the oneness of what you created in the first place, right? But now here she is bored. She's resentful. She's angry. She's trying to figure out how she can make some changes. The first thing he's going to say is, what's wrong with you? Because now she's let it go for years. And now it's her fault.
Yeah.
And now she gets mad because he's like, what do you mean? It's your fault. And then that's what ended up happening. Your fault, your fault. And then the arguments set in. So instead of letting it go so far, now you're going to ask me, well, now she's let it go so far. What do we do? Okay, let's bring it back to that. All right, my love, let's do something fun. Can I pull you away? Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a cup of coffee. Let's have some tea. Let's sit in the middle of the living room with all our electronics in the dining room and stare into each other's eyes just for 5 minutes to remind ourselves of what we started with, right? She can make these tiny little changes to open up herself, but she's closed down and created, yes, baby, she created it, this boredom. But she has to go back and figure out, where was the line between that completeness and the boredom? That's all within her. I mean, yeah, you can use me. I'm an intuitive and I'll figure it out. But the ones that are listening, oh, give me more, help me, help myself. And that's what I'm doing right now. You reflect upon, don't reflect upon what you don't have now. You have to reflect upon where within you was the shift. What you allowed, meaning accepted, and now you have for a long time, and you created the resentment, the anger, the frustration, and now you want to put it upon someone else. That's why he's going to say, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Because then you have to reflect in you, right? But there are simple little things that you can do, as I stated. And so for, let's say it's a man, let's say he's emotionally disconnected because she is involved with all the children, right? That's a good one, right? He feels lonely. He feels unloved because she's taking care of the children. Grab her hand while she's cooking. Pat her bottom.
Like simple things, simple gestures, how important they are.
Extremely important. As I was just explaining that when you're having, okay, let's go back to the husband situation. He's lonely and he's laying next to someone, right? A simple she doesn't have to lay out a tea set and a ceremony. You know, he can approach her by showing I'm lonely without saying, stop what you're doing. You're not giving me love. Because what happens? It's your fault. It's not. Is that he has to see, okay, from the line again, from happiness to being lonely. So if it was to where she's juggling a certain amount of children and the house and stepping back to allow you to build your career, that she's thinking in her head, again, everybody can't read each other's minds. I mean, I'm pretty good at it, but everybody's not like me. So that you're thinking that she will, if she needs me, assist the man, if she needs me, she will come to me. She's in the kitchen. Why doesn't he hear that I need help? I'm making all this noise and the children are screaming. I've been married to him for 10 years. Why can't he see this? In his head, she'll come to me. I know she loves me and she knows I love her. So there's this unknown barrier, right? So that's why, hey, babes, it's okay to say, come to me. Is there anything that you can help me with? That do you have some time to help me with this? If I were to come to you, do you have some time you can help me? I know you'd be, what do you need, honey? And that would be with any partner relationship. Because we want to be with them and share with them. What do you need, honey? We simply can ask.
So in relationship, like how often vacations are needed?
So we can call it a reset. Sometimes people will say, I only need a vacation once every other year or once a year. But if you think about it, a vacation can be an hour in the middle of the living room, putting a picnic together, right? That's a vacation, because what you're doing is you're closing down all of the chaos or all of the goals and all of the things that you think your life has to create. And you're focused on that instead of the four walls, the relationship, the children, the family, right? And so taking a car ride, a road trip, that's a vacation. Doing an overnight in a hotel an hour away, that's a vacation, because you're pulling away from your electronics, your one-on-one. It's a complete reset, mind, body, and spirit, but oneness with your partner. Finding the time to be one doesn't have to be a whole week's vacation. It's a complete reset of being with one. I just felt your heart to mine again. It fluttered. You're loving this.
In some cases, we see people carrying a checklist and going for a vacation, just knock off all the things, rushing to that to see those things. So does these kind of vacation does help?
You know, you're going to have partners that have two different experiences in life. You'll have one that is very detail oriented, because when they get there, they feel that they've checked off all the boxes, got everything together in the suitcases, and when they get there, it's easy for them. Where their partner is like, oh, you know, why are you wasting all that time? Let's just go with the flow. So where can you meet in the middle? Especially, and I have to add, when there's children. I mean, as a mom myself, that it was easier for me to say, need that, need that, need that, that. Because when we get to the place we're going, all of a sudden going, Mom, I didn't, or I forgot, or my partner was going, did you bring? Right? because they're leaning on you. So there can be dividing the list. Or saying the husband, let's say, is more of the free flow, and being able to meet in the middle, say, okay, babes, here's the part of the list I need you to take care of. Can you help me with it? And then that way he's still in the free flow, but still helping the partner that's very organized and trying to meet the expectations of everyone so that everyone has a good time, right? Forcing a very organized partner into be a free flow partner is disaster, is complete disaster, because this one, the organized one, feels peace in organization. This one, the free flow partner, feels peace and flow. Like, let's just go, right? You have to meet in the middle. You have to. So I've heard a lot of times where the partner says, you're just causing more problems by doing this. But when they think in the end that they have everything they need and more because of the organized one, they're only thinking about the setup and getting there, when the organized one is looking at the chaos and the end result. You see? So it has to come together. And when you're having these mini vacations of an hour road trip, or, a half a day road trip, when the leaves change, get in the car and view that together. Take the pictures and have some fun. Get out of the car together. Hold hands together, right? And there are some that are listening that they're thinking, I haven't held my partner's hand in years. It's okay to do it now. It's okay to bring that which you are missing or feeling a loss, because at that point you're lost in loss. And then they get resentful. And then that resentful, I'm not doing that. You see, I pull my hands in, I'm not doing that. Why can't she do it? Why can't he do it? By showing that you're needing it and wanting it, come together. But it cannot be just one-sided. Because again, if the one partner is reaching out all the time or organizing all the time and doing us all the time, then the resentment picks in, because they feel like they're giving and not receiving anything in return.
Yeah.
I know that one.
True.
I know that one. And I decided no more, right? So the communication is up front. The connection is up front. If I see anything shifting, hey, what's going on? If I'm feeling like I need to talk about it, I want to talk about something. There's something you said, can we bring it back? Because I am not going to live in the space of resentment a year or 2 or 5 down the road. So the ones that are in that space, you can slowly back it up. Just taking mini steps to get out of that space of resentment. Now some will say, I can't, I'm too far gone. Then everyone knows the answer to that. I don't need to say that. They're just fear of taking action on it.
Ma'am, we have talked about relationships. Now, I want to ask the questions on dreams. So, some dreams are exhausting. Some dreams are mesmerizing.
Yes.
Some dreams do really come true in real life. So, how to take this?
So, dreams are your subconscious telling you something. When you say they're exhausting, it's how a person is interpreting the dream, right? An example can be, you have a dream about being in a car and then you die in the dream. And what can happen is the person will interpret that as they're going to die. A dream person interpreting it could be, the old you is dying to make room for the new you, meaning the things you're saying you want to manifest and create. So that's where exhaustion of seeing it can manifest into what you think it is, but it's not. Dream can have multiple layers. There's a specific dream by a client who, about death, that she had a dream that she was driving an old car, like a 1950s car, and she had the big steering wheel. So the old cars have the big steering wheel, and she was holding her hands out so she knew. And she was driving along, and she puts her foot on the accelerator, and in this dream, she hit a bump, and the car goes up. But as she was driving, I thought she heard the sirens, like someone was chasing her. And she hit this bump, and the car goes up like it hit this big ramp. And everything was in slow-mo. So she could see papers that were in the car moving, like gravity is slowed down. And she's just seeing, and then the car goes up and then plateaus to the top and then starts going down, and she woke up. 2 days later, she has the same dream, except she's in the actual car she owns, and she knows because she had a certain emblem. It was a BMW. She saw it in the dream in the center of the steering wheel, and she's driving the car, and she puts her foot on the accelerator, and she can hear the sirens. The very same dream, except she's in her car. And then she hits a bump, and then she goes up with the car, and the same thing, the slow-mo, she sees a cup, and she sees papers, and she plateaus, and she says, I'm going to die. And the car goes over, and she's still in the dream, and she crashes. She's still in the dream. But when she crashes, she feels her body separating, meaning the physical body and the soul separating, and she wakes up. However, it becomes now a form of lucid dreaming where her eyes are still closed, but she's awake with this dream still going. And she sees herself being separated, and now she's in a room, and the one wall is all glass. And she's standing there, and she's looking at all these cards, or these visions are sweeping by very quickly. And if she blinks, she could just make a figure, or it was a body or a dog, but it was so quick. And then they start slowing down, and she walks over to the wall, and the final picture shows. And she looks at the wall, and she's now, remember, she's in this lucid state of dreaming where she's fully alert, but she's watching the dream continue. She lifts her hand up as she's awake with her eyes still closed. She does this physical thing, but in the dream, she could see her hand knocking on the glass, saying, what is this? But what the dream represented, as I was stating, the old her was existing. She was in the driver's seat, being chased, thinking she's being chased in her old self, but that if she hits a big bump, everything is in slow-mo. What do I do now? And then as it slows down, she gets to the top, the peak of what do I do? It's going to kill me. And she wakes up. But then now the reality is she is still in the driver's seat, in her life, in the car she owns. That something can be chasing her, but she's still in the driver's seat. But that she's not going to die, even though there's a separation from the old, to know that that all those lives that are passing by, that was the wall, the lives that pass by, and that the life she's in is in existence, is right here, and you're not dead. You're right there. So it's the interpretation of that dream that doesn't exhaust you, because it's how you're interpreting it. They can have multiple layers that it can be very difficult because you could have a portion of the dream reflect a family member, how you felt or how they feel about you. And then the dream, you know how they merge from, well, I was in one room, and the next thing I knew I was in another room, right? And then they can be interpreting something off, bits and parts of what you're struggling with in your life. But it's your answers, actually. It's more clarity, but it's the determination of understanding that dream that can be challenging to understand what that means. Yeah.
So it is not exactly showing what is going to happen, but it is all like, bad went away.
I'm sorry, repeat the last part again.
So the bad thing is not going to happen.
Right. Or what you're interpreting as bad. Remember, that's the key here, is what they're interpreting as bad. But when you shift it and say, you're not going to die, your energy of the old you is dying. Isn't that so much more enlightening? Isn't that so much more empowering?
Yeah.
And yeah, giving you the strength of going, yes, I'm going where in the direction that I want to be in. Right?
Yeah.
But it's the interpretation that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ma'am, does the dreams help in manifestation? Does it give any hints or symbols or signs?
Yes, because think about it, when you're consciously living, right? That you're saying that you want something a certain way or you need answers to receive. Sleep is the path to the least resistance. So you're not strangle holding it or trying to get that answer. Most people do consciously. So while you're sleeping, you can get the answer. However, it's how you're interpreting it as what that answer is. You know, the reason why I can understand dreams is because I'm living intuitively, and I also have the clairaudience and the clairsentience, okay? 19 years of practice of seeing that I can tell you, you might have limiting beliefs with you and mom. And when I connect your energy, I'm not going to see you and mom arguing. I could see you as a fish and mom as a fish swimming in the sea, and then she jumps out of the water and swims away. That I've seen, and it means that somebody has left the family unit. So if somebody were to dream that, they would have their interpretation of fish and, you know, swimming away and, oh, wait, no, wait, hold on, I'm going to swim with you. You're leading me. And that's not what it is. So, but because I've seen the patterns of 19 years of practice, it's very easy for me to interpret what a dream represents because I see this in my conscious state when I'm working with people. So when someone says, how can I get like her? How can I be like that? It's years and years of getting answers, flashes, because I'll say, oh, I just got a flash, or, oh, I just heard something. And so because I have a full connection, we all do, but we'll second guess that we saw something in our mind or say it's a coincidence. There are no coincidences in this world, my friends. But when you begin to believe, oh, that's something that's going to help me. Oh, wait a minute. I recalled that. Oh, okay. I'm going to write that down so I can, you know, if I'm working, let me have the time to reevaluate that thought. Right. But most people think they put that thought in their head. Right. It's similar to dreams, thinking, well, it's interpreted how I'm seeing life now. No, dreams have such a deeper structure to it. And that's why being an intuitive and seeing those same patterns of understanding to describe those patterns is the same thing. So it's someone who, going back to manifesting, right, is trusting what they're intuitively living, the decisions that they're making, and then knowing, K-N-O-W, that they're attracting the things that place them into their end result. I just gave the whole pattern of how to manifest everything. But it starts with all of the levels that I've said throughout this conversation: trusting, knowing, gratitude, meditating. It's like these crystals on the table. You lay them out to create the end result.
You have seen a lot of cases, like clients.
A lot.
Some people,
some folks
comes to you who is attached to an entity, or like, you know, I mean, so many things. You have seen multiple different cases.
Yes.
So can you explain us most shocking case?
Yes. Yes. So it would be shocking for you, but at the time I just went, what do I do with that? I used to work in a wellness center out in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I did it once a month for 5 years. And I did a group energy clearing in this room. And the room was always sold out. So it was a smaller room, it was about 10 people. The owner and I became very close friends, and she never told me who was coming into the room. People would just sign up, and then I would arrive, and there were the people. So I knew nothing about them. So when I entered the room, it was completely full, even over full. And I started working with one woman closer to the door. And I glanced over because it actually was in a room that was considered a salt cave, where there was granulated pink Himalayan salt on the floor. So I could hear the rustling of the salt. So when I hear noise, I'm going to look over, and I see a woman who's moving her hands over her chest really quickly. So much so that I thought her arm was going to break off. Like it was a cartoon. And so I said to myself, what do I do with that?
So you were taking the meditation class, ma'am? What class it is?
This was a group energy clearing. So thank you for asking, because I just went right into it. So I was doing a group energy clearing with an entire group. And when I do that, I still do it, but in my private.
Here, one question. What is group energy clearing?
Good question. Group energy clearing is that when you have a group of people, just sort of like these crystals that are right in front of me, each person is holding energy a certain way. But when they're a group, coming together as a group will be one solid thing that I need to work on. May it be love or abundance or fear. And so when I meld the energy together, I'll go inside and feel one of the major 7 chakras. And if I feel it in the heart, I'll say, this is about love, everybody. If I feel it in the solar plexus, it's fear. If I feel it in the root, it's grounding. Everybody's flighty. They just can't make decisions. So I will feel the energy of the entire group, move it through my chakras, know that I'm feeling it. It literally projects itself through me, because I use my vessel to understand. I don't allow things to come into it, but I just touch it like a baby toe in the pool, right? So I just feel it. Oh, I feel it in my stomach. Right now I feel this room. It's all through the heart. I can feel this entire room in the heart. And so, I can feel it. So, and then I'll say, okay, everyone, I'm going to work on love for everyone, because that's what I'm feeling. And then what I'll do is I'll quickly, depending on how many people in the room, I'll put my hands on them and touch them one by one, but focusing on love, group, individual. So when I started the room, I was starting with this one individual, just put my hands on her. I don't remember, it was a while back, what I was working on, but I heard the rustling and I saw this woman moving her arm. I said, that's interesting. But in my mind's eye, I saw her from an angle. I couldn't see what she was drawing, but my mind's eye showed that pentagon, the devil worship with the circle and the 6-pointed star in it. I saw her go a circle so quick and then draw this star, pointed star. And then I went, oh, what? So I walked over to her. And as soon as I knelt down to her, I heard in my head, strangle her. Well, that's not me. And I just kind of like, no, because to me, it's theatrics when you see someone who's not doing something that's normal, that's so out of the normal that would make most people run. So I said, no, that's not happening. So I put my hand on her heart, and, in my mind's eye, I kept feeling all of I could see her head come to her chest and then pull back in. So I knew that something was holding her, meaning her soul, from being able to live in the physical body. So the longer I worked with her, I could actually feel this pressure on my arm as if you were sitting in the chair next to me. And I could feel this pressure. Something told me, and again, that intuition, the feeling, ask her if she has a son. It just came out of my mouth. Do you have a son? She stopped everything, sat up, and she said, why? Am I going to have a child? Like she became her again. And I said, no, I just wanted to ask if you had a son. She laid back down and kept doing the hand gestures. I said, okay. And then I could feel as if there was a child, a boy, helping me help her. But it got to the point where this energy would not detach from her. And I had a whole room full of people. I've done this session, as I said, once a month for 5 years. That was not my first rodeo. That was like 2 or 3 years into it. Every time I'm in the room, I can hear sounds. I can hear people breathing. I can hear everything in the room. That time, I heard nothing, not a sound of a breath, no movement, nothing. It's as if that negative and positive energy was in the room and I was the positive energy. And so I worked through the entire room and I left the room before everyone could come out. And I went right to the owner. And remember I said, she never told me anyone who was in the room, how they were related, any stories about them. And she said, did you see the little boy? I said, what? How did you know? You weren't even in the room. She said, I didn't tell you, but there was a mother and a daughter in the corner of the room. The daughter was in her early 20s. She said, the daughter lost her brother as the mother lost her son when he was 6 years old. They were hoping that you could connect to him. And I'm like, what are you saying? She said he was in a freak accident. He was on one of those pop-up amusement parks where they have the little mini roller coaster, small little amusement park rides. They call them pop-ups. And it was a mini roller coaster, but he was 6 years old, a little petite little boy. He was sitting on the front bench of the roller coaster ride, and the metal bar was sitting right at his chest. So when he did the ride and came back down and they came into the stop, whoever was operating it hit the stop so hard that the little boy went forward, hit his chest on the pipe, on that rod, and went back. It hit him so hard, it stopped his heart. He fell over into his sister's lap and died instantly. So now she lost her brother right in her arms. The mother was waiting for both her kids to come off, and they have been missing him ever since. The owner did not tell me the entire story. When she told me that I see the little boy, I almost burst into tears thinking he was there to help me, help this woman who was actually struggling with this entity involved with her, with the mother and the daughter there. The story just blew me away. And so when I'm seeing that, I've seen things much more greater than that since then. But what ended up happening is I ended up reading a book, and I encourage everyone to read this book when they want to be closer to angels. It was Angels in My Hair by Lorna Byrne. So everybody go to Amazon because it's an amazing book. Because after you read it, you actually feel a stronger sense of your angels and connections around you, the higher, beautiful beings to help you and support you. Every time I recommend that book, everyone feels the same thing. When I read it for the first time, in the middle of the book, it said, Satan will present itself. Be prepared. It was as if it was being read to me. Then right after I read that book, that happened. So in my preparation was, do not be in fear. Satan is here. Do not be in fear. How can you help the ones that are here for you to help? And so that's how that whole thing, it was just crazy.
So one more time, the book name, ma'am. What is the book name?
Angels in My Hair by Lorna Byrne.
Lorna Byrne.
Yes. Amazing book.
Wow.
Thank you for allowing me to share everything. It's a matter of being in service so profoundly that it's through love, of helping people that can't see their own struggles and hurts. You know, there is no time and space with energy. So I connect people no matter where they are in the world. You know, you just reach out to me and I work with them no matter where they are. But it's being able to say, Terry, I am struggling and I've tried everything. You resonated. And so I really want to try to do something different. What can you help me with? That means that they are ready, willing, and able. That catapults me from one client to the next. That gives me purpose and love, self-love, and love for everyone that's saying they really want to get out of their hurt, their resentment, their struggle, their pain, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And this is why I'm very grateful and I'm humbled. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming and sharing the insights. All our viewers will be happy to hear all the insights, whatever you have shared with us, and they will practice a manifestation. Yeah, thank you so much.